Hello, my name is Renee Ellison, and our goal is to help you be a better mother. Today we're going to talk about washing dishes. Yes, something as simple as washing dishes can overthrow our entire day if we don't do it well. Now, this is something you're going to be doing for about 50 years, 3 times a day, or 60 years, or 70 years. And many housewives, many homeschooling moms, many working moms don't have any idea how to do the dishes optimally. And anything you do repetitively in the home, you want to be able to do it optimally. So we're going to stop and we're going to look at how to do that so that once you conquer it, you have it for all your life. Well, the first step is to clean as you go. When you take a big pot from the stove and you take it over and you set it in the sink, clean it immediately. Take your brush out and swoosh water around and get the stuff off from it immediately. When you work like that with optimal timing for when you clean, it makes your job easier. Okay, now let's imagine that your counter is full of spots and food and grub that has stuck on there. What you do is you take a sponge, you wet it, and you go around to all those spots and you just squeeze water over those spots. Don't attempt to clean them up yet. Water is a terrific dissolvent, so it will do the work for you. So you just go all around your counters and dribble the water. Then go over to your sink and wash your dishes. Then at the end, you come back and those spots will easily wipe up. Okay, we're going to talk about your equipment and how to do this job. Anything you do repetitively, you want to do optimally. Okay, look at these dishes here. This is what our counters begin to look like throughout the day. When we toss dishes there and we hurry out the door to our activities, the counter can look messier and messier. And our problem is that we're putting silverware between the plates. So we want to get rid of that problem from the get-go. So how do you do that? Well, you purchase a little Tupperware container about this size, or it's about a shoebox size. And what you do is when you're flinging the dishes on the counter, after you've cleared the table, you take all the silverware out and you toss them into your container. Now, why do you want this container? Because if you stack silverware on a plate, eventually it spills all over the counter. It does not hold them. If you stick them in a bowl, eventually the bowl tips over. So you want a flat surface like this, a flat little box in which you fling all your silverware, your dirty silverware. Now this is even if you're going to put it in the dishwasher later. It doesn't matter what it is. As soon as your plate lands on the counter, fling that silverware into your flat container. Later you can run water in it and toss a little soap in there and even have them soaking before you put them in the dishwasher or wash them by hand. So that is your premium tip for today, is to get this flat container. This is rush, right out, don't walk, rush and get yourself a container for silverware. It will clean up your mess. It will allow you to stack your dishes right away and contain them in a smaller space. Okay? Now, the other thing you need are good industrial strength, professional cleaning rubber gloves. You don't want those little thin yellow things because they will tear and rip as soon as they won't last the week. So you get these professional strength rubber gloves and you get them one size too big for you so that you can easily slip in and easily slip out of them. And you would drape them over the edge of your pan to dry for the rest of the day. These gloves you will use scores of times, and it keeps you victorious over any kind of mess. If a little child has thrown up or someone else has dropped things on the floor or the dog has made a mess, you put these gloves on and you're invincible. The ease with which you can get in and out of them and how sturdy they are, they last for a long time, is what is the redeeming point about work gloves. You can get them online and they're called BWK 183 Boardwalk gloves. So just go online and you can get a stack of them, 10 or 20 of them. Purchase them all at once and then you have a new pair for every week. because when you're working in hot water, your hands will begin to sweat. But I have used mine sometimes for a whole month. These are invaluable to make you victorious over all messes and have no squeamishness. Okay, so now we want to talk about what you do in the sink. You need 2 white Rubbermaid or Tupperware containers. Why? Well, many of you have ceramic sinks, or you have sinks that are fragile. And if you try to throw dishes in there, you're going to chip your sink and you're going to chip your dishes. But if you use rubber, constantly set these down in your sink and you wash your dishes in them, then when you're done, you fling them off. You don't even have to dry them. Fling them off, tuck one inside the other, and put them on top of your refrigerator. So they're easily grabbed. They don't take up space underneath the sink, and they're not wet down there. The air around in the room will dry them once you have shaken them off. So these are an absolute must for speed. If you have a ceramic sink, you're going to be working slowly and more diligently. These you can just fling your dishes in and out, one for washing and one for rinsing. Absolutely vital, basic thing you need to do dishes for the rest of your life. Now let's talk about your drainer. Many people have a tiny little drainer on their counter, and it means that you have to stop and dry all those dishes before you put new ones in. No, I recommend that you get a large drainer or 3 smaller ones. I have 3 smaller ones on my counter. 3 of them, yes, and they're out all the time. I put a large white towel under them, and then I set them up on these lids. These are plastic lids that you can obtain in a little box. They come, I think, 8 to 12 in a box. And you use them with your ball jars for easily storing dry goods and those kinds of things. But anyway, I just take these and put them under the legs of the drainer like this, so that it drains down onto the towel, and I'll whip that towel out once a week and wash it as well. Or you can get a Rubbermaid drainer. But what you want is space to put your done dishes in. So this is absolutely vital that you get that big enough and use up a lot of the counter space for that. Then you need a nice large silverware drainer. And if you can't find one big enough, you want big. You don't want those little things that these drainers come with. You want something large. So again, you can fling. You're working at speed here so that you don't spend all day in the kitchen. So if you cannot find one, then go to a used appliance place where they fix old appliances, or go to a junkyard where there's an old dishwasher that's been cast aside, and pull it out and get the dish drainer out of that old broken dishwasher. You can also pull the top or the bottom rack out and use that as your extremely large rack to put your dishes in. So the more space you have to do the dishes, the faster you can fling those dishes, and the sooner you can get out of the kitchen. All right, let's talk about brushes. You need 3. You need a little one like this to do your vegetables, to brush off your potatoes and anything that needs scrubbing that's food. And you want kind of a round thing so that you can really get tight up close to the vegetable to clean it thoroughly. Then you want a bottle brush for bottles that have entrances that are too little to put a rag in. And then you want a tall, large round brush. My end broke off, and when yours does, go ahead and use it shorter because the ends are a little bit movable. And you just use this on all your dishes like this. Just give them a whirl, and it will shorten your time. And in your pans, excellent little tools to use. And then for your sponge and scrubby, this has been thought through optimally. What do you want a sponge for? You want a sponge to absorb water. So you don't need the scrubby on the other side of it. You want a sponge to be able to use both sides. So you go along your counter and then flip it over and get the moisture from the other side. So you're using both sides to absorb water. So what do you do for those rough spots? Well, you use a scrubby. And what I do is I take those scrubbies and I cut them in 4. So I get these 4 little pieces. It makes your dollar go further. You get 4 little pieces out of one big piece, like this. And what I do is throw this out and throw this out every week. You get a new sponge and a new scrubby. Now, why do you use a sponge and a scrubby instead of a dish rag? Well, because a dish rag has lots of extra fabric. And so when you're using a dish rag, you're dragging the rest of the fabric around on your counter, and it is not an efficient use of cleansing materials. Okay, and our last point is that you want a small container to hold your dish soap. Even if you buy dish soap in a big bulky container, you want to be able to pour it in a small one. So just get a cheap small one, even of a kind of detergent that you don't like, and you're going to pour from your big container into this. Because why do you want a small one? Because it's lightweight, you can lift it up and quickly dash, and I even rip off the lid so that it's always open. So you just quickly squirt a little bit in your water. Well, if you've enjoyed this time of tips about washing dishes, and would like more such tips about all of your demands in the household, subscribe below for more free YouTubes, and go to our website, homeschoolhowtos.com, and you will see over 100 little booklets there that tackle one subject after another that have to do with your little kingdom in your home, being a better success at all that you do.